Welcome to Get Green, Northwest Indiana, your home for lawn care solutions with Steve Daly. Each podcast, you'll learn the secret tips to growing healthy green grass and best practice solutions for watering, weed and feed, aeration, and mowing. Here are your hosts, Steve Daly and Jim Jano.
Tell me when you're ready.
What are we doing?
Fall fertilizers.
Okay.
So, Steve, today we're going to talk about the MVP of fertilizers, fall lawn fertilizer, lawn care's GOAT. What is fall lawn fertilizer? Is it just fertilizer that you put in a fall?
Yeah, I mean, it's all it is. I mean, you could use any analysis of fertilizer generally. The idea is to try to get as much nitrogen as you can incorporate. Generally in cool season turf, 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds of nitrogen in the fall is going to be very beneficial for the lawn and where it goes for the upcoming season. The winterization application, a lot of people go, well, why are you fertilizing that late? Well, because what it's doing is it's building storage in the plant for the following season, the beginning of the next year. The rigors that are going to take place as that lawn is growing like crazy in April and May of the next year. I mean, it uses up all the plant's storage, uses up all the plant's carbohydrates. By fertilizing in the fall, that's what it's providing. It's providing all that stuff for the next season.
You've talked about watering and cutting your lawn, and these are important things that people need to continue through the end of the year. But I thought that fall fertilizer and winterizer, the purpose of it was to feed your lawn during the wintertime when it was covered with snow, but that's not the case, is it?
No. When a plant starts slowing down its growth process, it takes the materials that we're applying and uses it in a different fashion. All the stuff you see that happens throughout the course of the year with spring upgrowth and all that, that's fertilizer from the fall before. Okay, that's what's going on. The stuff you put in that fall is down in that root system, and it's what that plant thrives on for the next spring. Generally in the spring, you're supposed to be running low amounts of nitrogen, not high. You walk into a lot of these lawn programs you look at that come in a bag and they got 28% nitrogen, 30% nitrogen in the spring, and that's just not favorable for the turf in the long run. You're forcing more upgrowth, creating more stress on the plant, and you're heading towards summer. And the idea of fall fertilization is you're replenishing everything that's taken place throughout the course of the year. You're trying to give the plant some reserves to handle all the things that are coming at it in the next season.
Well, and I remember when we first got started, and there was a section in my lawn that I could not get to grow. And I was so excited when it actually was starting to fill up and it was starting to get green. And both your inside team as well as yourself had told me, it's nice that you're happy, but it really takes a full year of a full season program with the fall fertilizer and winterizer as well, and that I would see even more progress the following year. And I noticed that. How significant was that fall fertilizer? You've called it the MVP of fertilizers. How significant was it to my next year being even better than my first year?
It is probably the single most important time of the year to fertilize a lawn. Purdue studies will show you any turf grass studies will show you that fertilizing cool season grasses later in the year is the prime time to do it. And as far as how your lawn's going to react and fill in, and it's the fall fertilization that's the key. The rest of the year, we're trying to provide some color. We're not trying to jam it full of nitrogen. You're trying to get all those things into those fall applications, and you're trying to work within a parameter of what you're applying throughout the course of the year. A 4-to-1 nitrogen to potassium ratio is generally what you're trying to do, pounds per 1,000 per year. I know it's over most people's heads, but that's what our goal is when I formulate my program.
I remember when you equated it to a person running a marathon, and it made sense to me. That you can you talk a little bit about that?
You don't just hop into a marathon without training and proper diet and all the things that you need to do to go through that, and knowing that don't have the nutrients to back up what's going to get through that long run. Lawn's got the same thing. It's going to go through a marathon that next spring, summer, into early fall. The stresses that are provided on a lawn, going from, say, spring rains most years to drought in the summer so you get to that fall time, and that grass plant is taking those things and storing it, using it differently than what it does when you're doing it in the spring.
Well, and you often refer to a great lawn as a partnership, and that it takes more than just what you do. And if the homeowner doesn't handle their end, which is cutting, mowing the lawn correctly, watering, and you've given me some great advice. And I think the watering advice has been a big game changer. But how important it is that? Last week, my wife tried putting the hose away, and she said, "Well, I'm putting it away for the year." And at first she didn't listen to me when I said that we need to continue watering, but fortunately when I told her that you said it, she listened. So what can a homeowner do besides make sure? Because for years I never did fall fertilizer, and I think I've definitely benefited. But again, a lot of it is the coaching that you've given me. What else can a homeowner do to make sure that their lawn is ready for spring?
Well, I mean, again, a lot of people will say alter their mowing pattern. Studies show don't do that. The shorter you cut it, the more stress you're putting it under, whether it's spring or fall. Short mowing to, say, prevent snow mold, things like that, really isn't necessary. Cut it at your regular 3.5 inches of height, and the lawn will sustain better. Anytime you cut the lawn down, you're putting it under stress. As far as your other regular practices, I mean, if we're getting an inch of rain and it's cooler out in the fall, yeah, you can put the hose away. If we're getting an inch of rain per week and it's providing the lawn with the water that it needs, then yeah, put your hose away. But generally, if it's a dry fall, you still need to water. You need to water until the time comes that, all right, you get into mid-October, generally temperatures are down and you can put the hose away. That's usually when most people are blowing out their irrigation systems and all that. So that's about the time where you can just completely call it quits with your watering.
You've got some really cool tables and guides and stuff on your website. You had something about making sure that you rake your leaves. You don't want that packed down over winter and things. Some great tools, some great information. Where can they learn more about some of your useful information? And especially Daly's tips in your community pages. I always love those because you keep those updated in real time. Where can they find all this?
www.perma-green.com.
Well, Steve, we really appreciate your taking time to go over fall fertilizers, winterizers, I think they're also called. And thank you very much for taking time to explain this to us. And happy green lawns, everyone.
Thanks, Jeno. Have a great day.
All righty. Have a great day.